Hey gang, Next is Giga here. A bit of a preamble to this here. There's a lot of substance that's pretty heavy, drugs, mainly drug abuse. If you don't want to watch that, you don't have to watch this episode entirely. I totally get it. Hey guys, Giga here. This is the fourth episode of the Constantine reviews. We're like a third done with the series. Fucking crazy, right? Speaking of fucking crazy, this episode's fucking crazy. It's also super fucking depressing. That's wonderful. I love that. So this episode is it hits more home than I want to admit to it. I won't go into full detail. I won't dox anybody or anything, but it hits a lot of places it shouldn't hit. And that's episode's kind of why I like this episode a lot. It's dark, it's grungy, it's kind of cool having not black magic, but African magic and shamanism and all that. That's pretty fucking cool. So anyways, let's dive right into it. This episode starts in Anytown, USA, as a Swiddy man is harassed by TSA agents.
What were you doing in Sudan?
Just hanging out, tourist stuff.
Yeah, fascinating. Tell me about the bottle.
To be honest, however, I understand the TSA agents here because that's a super fucking sus. What's in this bottle? A fucking genie? The TSA agent reveals that this man has some kind of markings, and he grabs the bottle, only for the bottle to break and reveal beetles, which start to swarm and kill the man. I want to know how I can't bring a fucking couch of Yoo-hoo about this fucking big, but I fucking bring a fucking glass bottle like that in there, full of fucking beetles. What the fuck, TSA? We cut to Atlanta, Georgia, where Zia and Constantine are on a date. Aww, adorable. While on their date, John and Z discuss certain choice topics such as drug abuse.
A drug?
I wouldn't know.
Seriously? You've never dabbled?
Seriously. You try having visions like mine and see if you're still interested in dabbling.
I need more control, not less.
When her powers start to activate, friend the angel returns to verbally spar with John.
Rather traditional, it seems. How's she doing? You think she can help us?
Well, she's more than handled herself this far.
Putting a lot of time and effort into her. Let's hope it's not wasted. Wouldn't want to go down that road again.
Well, she's as tough as they come, this one. And it's just until we can sort out this rising darkness nonsense. And she's free to go on her own merry way.
In reference to the drug abuse earlier, the angel reveals that he is not even there.
Why else would you be here?
I'm not.
We then learn that somebody tried to break into the house of mystery. Sort of.
John! John, is that you?
Well, bugger me. Gary bloody Lester.
I knocked, but nobody was home, so...
You got yourself caught in the zero-gravity trap.
I don't know what you call it, man.
Sorta. Kinda. We learn that the sweaty man from the beginning of the episode is John's friend Gary. And we get another reference to Newcastle where... good times. Not for Constantine. Gary was kind of fucked up by the Astra situation. Because, well... would lead me to want to get away from it, too. While I don't condone drug use, especially that heavy of drug use, it's semi-understandable why. Kind of. I'll explain more near the end. Gary goes into more depth about what happened prior, and why he's being harassed by the common rider Kabutos.
Lost in it all. I don't even know how, but next thing I know, I'm in Sudan, and I'm looking to get on. As soon as I saw him, I knew he had these containment markings all over his face. You know, the power patterns for binding. Some bastard had trapped the demon in him. I knew what I had to do. This This was my chance to make up for Newcastle. This was my chance to atone. It was like an irresistible passion just seized me. It wasn't that I wanted to do it. I needed to. You should have seen me, John. You really should have seen me.
While all this is happening, the TSA demon goes on an eating frenzy as the Beatles need to feed to survive. Oh, of course the TSA would summon a demon. Are you still salty about the... Yes, I am still salty about that. Somehow, however, they miss a Subaru. Even demon Beatles have standards. The following joke was brought to you by any other food in the airport. We're not Subarus. Z asks Constantine what he's wearing, which he reveals is the Ring of Solomon, which then he'll activate a Solemn Strike, and if it's unbanned by then, Solemn Judgment. Honestly, in a case like this, the scene is kind of interesting. Z wants Constantine to see Gary's good side again and go, hey, yo, fam, he could be helpful to you and, like, be his friend again. And Constantine ain't having that shit. He has given him multiple times, and he has not taken them up well. He keeps pissing them away. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say I am the know-all, end-all of drug addiction, because I'm not. But in a case like this, sometimes you can't always do that. While Z is right, so is Constantine. Sometimes you have to worry about you. Sometimes when something goes sour, like a friendship or because of drugs, you can't always let something like that happen and not worry about yourself in the end, like Constantine does. There's no winners and losers in these battles. And that's what's going to happen, Lord, and spoiler, but sometimes it has to happen, you know? Thankfully, however, the mood lightens the fuck up when the Beatles return to harass a woman in a grocery store with a child. Then the Beatles go and rampage and eat everything in sight. Hashtag relatable. Sadly, unfortunately, the moment of relief is ended when we learn the Beatles are a hunger demon. John leaves and Gary tries to follow suit. But John stops him. Z tries to confront him about it, and well...
Just help. People can change, you know?
Bollocks. We are who we are. Eventually.
Honestly, this is fucking heartbreaking. Gary and John fucked these lives up together. This man's life is ruined, and is running away from it. The same way Gary is running away from it. Different results, still both running. Z asks more about Newcastle, which we all know happened. We get a somber moment with Gary and Z. This moment is bitter, and the actor who plays Gary is phenomenal. Just watch this.
Sure.
Is that what happened at Newcastle? John doesn't seem to want to talk about it.
Too much pain. Same reason I got into the junk. Try to forget. Thing like that. You don't ever forget.
It's honestly really fucking heartbreaking. Seeing John feels like he fucked this thing up. This man's life is ruined, and John's fault in his eyes. He's running away from it. John sees him running away from it too. This same man, Gary, also ran away. For different reasons, same results. Still running away. Honestly, this is fucking heartbreaking. Gary and John fucked these lives up together. This man's life is ruined, and is running away from it. The same way Gary is running away from it. Different results, still both running. John uses his psychic paper to get into the building and interrogates two shoppers. The child reveals that the swarm of bugs went a certain direction, and some more vague information that kids tend to do. Because they're dumb kids. John further investigates the demon feeding on raw meat, as the hunger demon ignores John, who casts a spell to capture the demon. The demon tries to attack John while the exorcism happens. This really is now some Exorcist level shit, by the way. But somehow the bottle breaks and the demon is free. John comes home depressed and goes straight to the bottle. Z goes to the depressed John and shows him paintings that she made while her powers went off. We learned that touching Gary's stew essentially gives her a contact high. Or rather, in this case here,
His withdrawal symptoms. You got all the lows and none of the highs. Rough deal, I'd say. It's probably best if you two kids keep your hands to yourself. For now. Right.
Constantine then finds himself in an African-American restaurant to talk to an African shaman. I don't know if this is racist at this point or not. Constantine and the shaman agree to work together in a Don Quixote X spiritual adventure, aka they'll be tripping balls. I'd ask if this is drugs, but I already know the answer is drugs. Literally, in this case. John and the shaman, high as fuck as they are, change fucking eyeballs, and well, I sadly cannot show you what's going on here, but the sound effects are pretty nice and gross, and so are the special effects. I, however, can do this.
Then I'll activate this magic color. It's called Exchange. Our fucking eyeballs, lol.
We get a bit of more of a lore dump as we learn more about the Hunger Demon.
Nemath has always been with us. Through all the famines, the hunger of the starving masses gave the spirit strength. Nothing could satisfy the demon's appetite. After consuming a body, it moved on to the next, leaving a growing trail of death. The shaman couldn't sit by and watch his people starve. He could see what no one else could. This was the evil work of a dark spirit. He faced an impossible choice. For they were all his children. There was only one way to stop it. The demon was invited to enter the boy whom the shaman offered as a sacrifice. The sacred Kusa knife, used for the scarification, passed down by generations of shaman. Centuries of powerful magic contained within.
The shaman wakes Constantine up from his acid trip to reveal that he needs a sacred blade. And knows where to get it. We cut back to Z trying to stop Gary from escaping, only for him to psychically drug her. Due to YouTube's terms of service and how visually gross it is to people who might not stomach gore, I cannot show you this what's going on here. But I can tell you it's a fucking tongue and cut the fuck out. Constantine comes home to find out Z's been drugged, and they get into an argument about what Gary said versus his intentions.
He just wants to help. He's so racked with guilt. He's going after the demon himself.
Told you that, did he?
Yes, he did. And he meant it. I felt it.
That's not what's happening, trust me.
Why do you always want to see the worst in people?
I see the truth. Gary's hopelessly addicted to heroin. And let me give you a little tip about addicts. Between thought and action comes temptation. Always.
A classic moment of drug abuse versus the user debate. And then it cuts to a fucking underpass where John has to save Gary from getting jumped by an ambiguous gang, and then John bribes the young gentleman with an ambiguous drug which they used earlier to get high. It then cuts to a bittersweet moment where Constantine and Gary are talking. Gary reveals that he's partially the reason why the Asper situation got all fucky.
What Newcastle?
Gas.
Please. I need to say this. I was high. Been smoking all day. By the time the seance started, I was well kid. And then when everything started going pear-shaped, I hid.
Constantine responds a bit interestingly as he forgives Gary on what happened and apologizing for fucking Gary's life up to the level it is, in his own way. It cuts to a museum where Constantine and Gary are talking about the situation, what they're going to do. Right before Constantine can break in, the angel stops him to ask if he's ready for this. Which Constantine fucking says he is. And it kind of ends again. John then distracts the guards and Gary gets the knife. John unfortunately reveals to Gary that the demon requires a human sacrifice. Gary, for a moment, is hesitant, but he chooses the hero's way and accepts his fate as the human sacrifice. John and Gary get a final moment of being bros together, as Gary accepts his fate, and John... Popcorn angel and all, John seals the Beatles and Gary. We get one last somber moment as Constantine puts Gary in a containment room. As he thrashes around, even the angel looks down upon Gary. And a somber moment as it is, it's how it ends. Sometimes your friends' addictions win. And unfortunately, Gary's won. Honestly, this episode hurts in a good way. It's that kick in the pants you need, so to speak, here. As a family member of a recovering addict, sometimes it's hard to watch these sort of things. Because sometimes it doesn't go the way they want it to go, you know? Sure, Constantine saved the day still, and Gary got to be a good person, but in the end, Gary's addiction technically won. That's why I said sort of, so many times earlier. Gary's addiction still won in the end. His addiction to heroin and wanting to better himself to John got the situation started, and now he has to end it. And that's what I like about this episode. The addiction, the addict was still a person. It's not like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's like, don't do drugs, kids! And, you know, like those weird PSAs, you know? Sometimes in the end, though, like, it has to be gritty. And Constantine knows how to be gritty. Honestly, though, I want to give a shout out to Gary's actor, name on screen here, because I'm not going to read it at the moment here. He's a phenomenal actor. I want to see him in other shit now. He's a phenomenal fucking actor. Gary was portrayed the way a drug addict should be played as. He's not cartoony. He's a fucking dick, sure, but like, he drugged Z. But he's still a good person in the end, somehow. Speaking of fucking Z, by the way, Z's actress is phenomenal still in this, and getting more of Z powers is great. Getting Z bloom more is great. And Matt Ryan, I'll still jerk fucking Matt Ryan off and get that restraining order ready for Matt. Like, he's still a fucking good actor. The editing is good too. Everything about this is good. Getting African magic is fucking dope. I love this shit. Like, I love seeing this shit so much. Overall, it's a good episode, and watch down below in the link I put down there. Have a good day, guys. Peace.
Thank you.